Welcome back, bitches and
men.
I was like, what's the male word for a bitch?
I was going to say,
A dog.
what is it? A douchebag?
A boy. Bitches and boys. We'll have to Google that.
Yeah, I don't know. Bitches and boys is kind of cute.
Do you think any boys listen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless they're gay. Maybe
No,
some
I
gay
think
boys.
some straight guys listen. Some straight friends of mine listen.
Okay, great.
And they give me feedback. They're like, oh, but not actually, it's not feedback. They give me
They mansplaining.
Yeah,
Of
I
course
was like,
they do.
actually, remember when we first launched, we were getting all that mansplaining, and I was like, okay, fuck all the way off. Now it's just positive reinforcement.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, on that note, today's
Yes.
episode, we're going to talk about, which, by the way, was a question that came from my old teachers. I went to visit them. Well, we went for dinner when I was just back in England for a work trip. And it was so nice being with
So
like
cute.
the women that raised me in
Love.
school. And I was a little shit to them, but they still love me and they listen to the podcast. So shout out. So they said you should
Hi,
do-
teachers.
Hi, teachers. So they said you should do an episode about what you actually learned from school. So Devon and I thought we'd expand that even further and talk about things we learned from school and then like uni to make it fun.
Yeah, I love this episode. So what I want to kind of like kick off with when you told me about this question. So on Friday morning last week, I went and got a pap smear, and I'd been putting it off because I just hate going to do that. So I went to this new place called Tia.
I saw
It's
it on
like the
Instagram.
women for women by
Yeah,
women.
I saw it on Victoria Paris's
Okay.
Instagram story.
So I was getting like TikTok ads, and then I was just like, what is this? So you basically do a telehealth and then you go in for the appointment. So I go. It is so fucking cute. Like the aesthetic is kind of like our studio. You go in the room, instead of like the paper gross robe, they give you a
Clinical,
silk
yeah.
kimono. They have really cute music playing in the background. The office is like so cute and girly. The chair you sit in with the stirrups was like still medical, but like lower to the ground and like a bougier seat.
Yeah, it's like this chair, but with
Yes. And then you get like cute socks. The brand like Woo More Play that does like the wellness wipes and like lube and stuff was there. Like so
they
fucking
have
cute.
brand activations
Yeah.
at the gynecologist.
So I'm like getting the pap smear, and the woman's doing it. She gives me a lavender stick to smell, and it's just like the best experience ever. And so after I told her, I was like, I totally have built up having white coat syndrome, where like I'm so scared to like come in because it's just like so like weird, and like I get really anxious. And then she's like, well, they don't teach you in school how it's like vulnerable for women to get a pap smear. So like this is like the room that like we have patients come in and do it, because like you can have the lavender stick and there's like all these like the kimono and all the shit. So then when we were talking about this episode, I was like, fuck, it's like they don't teach you that in school.
no,
Like they're teaching doctors like A, B, C, D, but they're not teaching them like bedside manner, like listening to a patient when they just want to be like heard, setting up like an environment where you could feel safe when you're doing something super vulnerable, like just those more like human touch points. And I just thought like, wow, for the medical industry, like no one's being taught that.
it's so interesting. I think it's also such a cultural conversation because, for example, like in the UK, and I don't want to shit on the NHS because I like it can be good for some people, but it's just like so bad.
Yeah.
You cannot get a pap smear as a woman until you're 25. So what happens is all these women die of ovarian cancer because it's not like you cannot even go get a pap smear until you're 25. And actually, I think the UK has like one of the highest rates of like cancer in general because preventative care is not a priority. For example, moving from Brazil, where like preventative care is very much like here, like you get blood tests, you get scans, you go to the gynecologist. Going to the UK for me and my family was a bit of shock to the system because in order for you to get a blood test, you better be dying. Like you can't just get a fucking blood test. It's like,
That's so crazy.
are
isn't
you
it?
dying? If so, we may give you a blood test. Again, I don't want to shit on the NHS, but like it is fucked. And you know, health in places where it is private, like the US, it makes it very inaccessible, and that's an issue in itself that needs to be fixed. And it's horrible that some people don't have good access to care. But when you are paying for it via your insurance or whatever, you do get fucking great care. Like, I have gotten CT scans just from having like tummy aches.
Yeah.
I have gotten blood tests like this whenever I need it. I just go down to the fucking lab, or I call someone and they come to my house. I can get any sort of care immediately when I need. And I think that, yes, I can pay for it, and that's a privilege, but like, fuck, the UK is not good.
Yeah.
All that to say, sorry, and people can disagree with me, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. But all that to say is, with the like gynecology thing, I've always had gynecologists like my whole life. In fact, I have the same guy in Brazil who's literally like helped like my grandma give birth, and then my mom, and then all these people. And all of my gynecologists have always been males, and like I don't have white coat syndrome. Like, I'm very comfortable with medical settings, to the point where like literally my gynecologists have been men, and we just locked in a room, and I'm like, just fucking tell me what's
like,
wrong.
do the damn thing.
Yeah, like I'm not sensitive to that stuff. And then, but all that to say is like, you don't realize how it's so different for people, right? And so like, you kind of overlook how for people getting like life-saving care could be so hard because of like different sensitivities like that. And places like what you just talked about could be really good. Also, yeah, they don't teach you in school to like look after yourself and take care of your health and get those preventative, like go to a nutritionist, go to a gynecologist, go to the dermatologist. Like,
Yeah, they teach you none of that.
they teach you, and they don't teach you fuck all about tax and cooking. And actually, I did have a cooking class, but I think we made muffins for about like 3 years in a row, and pizzas, which is fucking easy. And it was like an optional class too.
Yeah. I am just going to like lead with this. I am a staunch advocate. I say this to everyone. I did not learn anything, and I feel so bad for the amount of money that my parents spent
did you
on
go to
my
private
education.
school?
I went to the most expensive private schools from second grade through, and then I went to Boulder for college. But like, my high school was known to be the most expensive.
Yeah.
And so was like my elementary, like ill amounts of money. And I could not learn anything.
So
I
interesting.
did not retain anything there. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, what I do for work now, I learn nothing from my major. Like, what I learned in school is like how to get what you want by having people skills.
Yeah.
So like
by being
going
charming as fuck.
Yeah, going to office hours, like having
Being a
rapport with my
teacher's pet.
teachers. Yeah, like showing up timely, asking questions, being present, sitting in the front. Like, I think I learned like all of that etiquette, which is how I was successful in school. But I actually learned nothing. Like, sometimes I'm like, am I okay?
Well, here's what I think, because I'm the opposite. I went to state school, which means public school. Like, my parents never paid for a penny up until, obviously, I went to uni, then I got loans and whatever. Everything in life has advanced, you know, technology and every industry apart from education. So schools, and I know this because my wife is a teacher, is the one setting that has not advanced in fucking decades.
Yeah.
Fucking centuries. I mean, if you look at a picture of a school classroom in like the 1920s, it's, apart from like segregation, like it's still the same. There are desks and there are four walls and there is a whiteboard. Maybe it's a bit more technological now. And so you cannot, especially as well now with how corrupted our minds are with the technological advancements that have happened, you cannot teach people in the same way because they're not going to get the same outcomes. And I think I was very lucky because I was able to be very successful with the teaching that was given to me. And at the time, my parents weren't in a position to pay for private school, even if I needed it. But with Lucas, for example, my brother, he doesn't go to private school either. But they're very much of the thought of like, the moment he needs it, we'll pay, because they also recognize that, you know, he might not succeed in the way that I did with, you know, in a state school setting, although he's doing just fine. So it's just a shame that education hasn't advanced. There are like new things propping up. So there is this school, I think it has locations in Texas and Florida and maybe some other states, called the Alpha Schools. And what it is like a 2-hour school thing where you go and you kind of have these mentors and these tutors, and they use a lot of AI to help with your learning. But it's more about socialization. It kind of mimics more about like the uni setting, but when you're like 10. It gets you to talk a lot. It gets you to do presentations a lot. It gets you to do figure shit out. It doesn't have like classrooms and desks. It's kind of like a campus. And they're kind of arguing that the things you do learn in school can happen at like much shorter time. B, the things you learn are irrelevant. Like when have we ever used trigonometry? And like,
yeah. I think what school really taught me is like street smarts.
Yeah.
I think also the socializing piece is really important. So like someone I know is not in school right now, and they're having a difficult go because of like anxiousness. And my feedback was like, the more time that you spend not socializing, the harder your life will get. Because like I remember, going to high school. Like I remember my first day of freshman year, and like I didn't know anyone at the school. So I had my little lunch, and it's lunchtime, and I'm like, fuck, all these girls know each other. Like I go to all girls school. It's cliquey. I have to literally go up to a random group of girls and be like, hi, I'm Devon. And I remember this girl was like, I like your lunch pail. And it's like, that's literally how you make friends. And so now it's like at work, when I had my first day of work at my new job, I didn't know anyone. But like you have to go talk to people, and you have to make it work. And like your life will only get harder no matter what job you do, because like you have to somehow socially acclimate. So I do think like the socializing for school is really important.
So important. And that's the thing, like nowadays, because the education setting, like the school system is so fucked, and I think people are seeing that their kids aren't getting the outcomes from like a grade perspective that they want. So they're homeschooling their kids, which I'm like, look, I was always so against homeschooling, and I knew that if I ever had kids, or if I ever did have kids, like I would never homeschool them. I would always send them to school. But now there's like these communities that are doing homeschool together, where they're like, well, we'll put the kids together and they can run around and they can learn things by doing. And I kind of see the point to that. But I think just teaching your kids something at home alone is fucking wrong. Like every homeschooler that I've met that was like my age growing up, because it wasn't that like modern thing of like we have a community and the kids go and do activities together. It wasn't like that. It was like, no, they were fucking in a room all day learning with like their mum. They're fucking weird. And again, people can disagree and like show me an example.
There's like something off that's like
something off. Yeah. Because they didn't get the socialization.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I would argue that's changing. And I would argue that a lot of the mum content I've seen on TikTok or Instagram where they do homeschool their kids, it's more of like we have a community, and like the kids do activities and they go to soccer and they go to like, I think it's changing a little bit. But I think back in the day when a homeschooler was homeschooling or whatever, like it was like, they're weird.
Yeah, you have to have other things to like help support the homeschooling.
Yeah.
I think where I learned the most, like, is like being able to multitask, because I was a procrastinator and always putting things off in school. So like because I put it off, then I had like one night to do like all the exams and study for all the finals. So I had to like learn to use my brain like proactively and like balance 20 things at once. So in a way that's like helped me in like my adult life, is like to be able to balance, like I feel like a whirling dervish.
I think if we're talking about like middle school and high school, the main things I learned was individuality is important. And like I really wanted to stand out instead of like fitting in. I didn't care about fitting in. And I think, someone recently said to me like, just remember to live with purpose. And I'm like, bitch, you've known me for 20 years. Like, you know that like I never fit in, and I always was very adamant to do things I wanted my way. And I don't know why. I've always just been someone who doesn't care about fitting in. And I just was like, I'm happy to stand out. But that helped me be comfortable now with my individuality, and be comfortable with just being different and being loved for your differences, and knowing that some people might hate it, but there will be people that love it. And that comes by doing activities you truly love. So, for example, I've always been a polymath, which I've always struggled with, meaning like I've always loved doing so many different things that are in direct contradiction to each other. At university, later in life, I was doing both musical theatre and soccer at the same time, which I've always done. But once you get to uni, like it's harder to balance things. So I would literally rush from musical theatre practice to soccer practice, and people couldn't reconcile that I was doing both because they were just so different. And the musical theatre people were different than the soccer people. And they just couldn't like put me in the box of like, what's this girl truly like? And I didn't care. And I was like, I can be someone who can play soccer and I can be someone who can do musical theatre. And I can be someone who wear heels to like the soccer socials and they're all going to hate me for it, which they did. But I was like, it's more important for me to be who I am than for me to be liked.
Yeah.
And nowadays I see that with my life choices of like, I am dating someone. I'm not dating. Sorry, we're married. Lol.
That's cute that you feel like you're dating.
I married someone who is 23 years older than me. We don't even live together. Like we're trailblazing in kind of our relationship. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. Like every life choice I'm making now, I feel okay with because I think of how I was when I was younger. Mm-hmm. So all that to say, I think be individual, like don't fit in. And that also takes bravery and courage, which I have here. I think the sooner you learn to be brave and to have courage, the sooner you will not be a coward and be weak.
Yeah.
So learn that young, people.
Yeah. Those are great points. I honestly was like drinking and smoking cigs in the meditation garden.
No, don't get me wrong. I was doing a lot of drinking and a lot of drugs, but
I think that being an individual now more than ever, it's like, I was talking to my mom about this, but like we went to such preppy schools. So like, you know, my mom, all the moms would like look at and be like, oh my God. Cause like she just looked so different than the other moms. And then,
oh yeah, she's an ethnic queen.
Yeah. And so it's like, I think then.
But she's stunning.
Yeah. It's like confusing though. Cause you're just like, oh, like I want to like look like the other girls. And I mean, it wasn't until probably I was like 26 or 27, but like, even when I graduated college and I moved back, we'd go out and they'd come up to me and be like, what are you? Like, what ethnicity are you? Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, I'm white. Like, I was always like so confused because like I never felt like dark skinned and different. And like, I think because my whole life I was like always like fitting in with like my friends that are like primarily white. And then I was telling my mom and she's like, but you are white. And then I was like, I think my whole life in school, I was always trying to fit in. And like I was in a popular group. So like I was clearly fitting in, doing it right.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, I actually am not white and preppy and this is not me. And then I just kind of was like, I just literally don't care. And I've always kind of done my own thing, but I think it was maybe like an inner thing that I didn't realize I was holding on to.
It's confusing.
Yeah. But I feel like now more than ever, like Gen Z is very like unique, individual.
Oh my God. Gen Z is so cool.
They're
annoying
like,
at the same time, but they're also cool.
So at my Nana's service, my cousin, who's 18, his friends came and they were like the cutest crew of boys. And like the theme was cheetah and they all had like their interpretations of cheetah and they're wearing the coolest outfits. And I was just like, geez, like this one like boy had like a cheetah like headscarf that he had like wrapped around and he is just like so confident and I was like, how cool.
I do think they are very individual. I don't think they have this problem. Like they're very individual. All the they thems.
I know.
Sorry.
They'll have their own issues, but I like that they're unique.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say, which relates to something you just said, which is that I would say I was fairly popular, not in like a traditional I'm in the girl gang way. I was popular in the way that like people knew me. Like everyone knew me, but it's not to say that I was in the popular group. I was just like known because I was loud and like visible. Popularity is definitely fleeting, right? So I would say don't get too bogged down on that. The other popular people at the school are now like either bald if they're guys and kind of ugly when they were really hot.
Ugh.
And there was like some girls that was really popular and I was like dying to be like them. Like they were so hot and they were the coolest. And now they're just like pretty they live average lives. Mid lives. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, wow, my life is so much more exciting.
Yes.
So all of that is fleeting, but obviously, like, it's just a lesson that you can't even tell you just have to go through it. Like,
Yeah.
play the game. Like, cry over the popular boys.
Yeah.
Cry over the popular girls. Like, just play the game. But you will realize these things later in life. But I can't teach you that now. You just, like, have to go through it.
You have to go through it. I think in college, something I learned. So when I went to school, I was a business major. And I was, like, international business. And then my minor was econ. And I did it because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And then I was, like, doing so poorly in my classes because I was just so bored. And then I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? Who told me to do this? And so then I quit my major and I didn't tell my dad. And I just, like, signed up for all of these different classes. So, like, I took public speaking, I took PR, I took, like, advertising and marketing classes and comms and, like, art history and, like, history of dance. Like, I signed up for everything because I was just like, I want to learn a little bit about so many different things so I can make an educated decision for what I want to do because I literally have no idea. And so I think, like, for me, that was a good learning in the sense that, like, use the opportunity to expose yourself to a ton, even if it strays away.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had signed up for history of jazz and everyone was like, are you okay?
That sounds fucking
And I
awesome.
was just like, because I just want to learn.
That
like,
sounds
who
amazing.
fucking cares? So I just go to my history of jazz class and, like, everyone thought I was
Rock
weird.
out.
And I'm just like,
Rock it out.
I don't know. Like, do your own thing. And, like, it's the opportunity to actually learn. So,
Yeah.
like, find classes that are interesting.
Yeah. If we're speaking about college, like, I had a point, which is basically, like, don't worry about the studies. Like, do everything outside of the studies. I mean, obviously, you have to try hard and get good grades.
Yeah.
But, like, I learned most. It was my extracurricular activities. I did fucking everything. I had a job that was, like, a campus job.
Yeah.
That gave me so much skill. And
Wait, what was the campus job?
I was what they call a senior student ambassador.
Love.
So basically, I would represent the University of Exeter in Devon to all the prospective students that either wanted to come to this university, and we would also tour the country.
I'm smiling because I can, like, see you doing it.
Oh, just you wait. This is my job role. So, for example, in open days and stuff, I would literally give a presentation to, like, 300 students and parents 5 times a day. I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
On why they should pick this uni, like, what student life was like, everything. And that's, like, a 1-hour lecture to, like, 300 to 500 people 5 times a day.
That's crazy.
I think that experience led me to what, like, having the skill to do my TED Talk when I was 20.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can do anything after I've, like, done this amount of public speaking. And not only that, but then, like, I would tour the country and we would go and set up, like, a stand in other universities for prospective students from that area of the country to see if they wanted to come to us, like, down south. It was actually a very demanding job. Like, it took up, like, 50% of my time. And obviously I got paid for it. But not only that, it just gave me, like, at 19, I was, like...
so many life skills.
Yeah, having all these life skills and, like, being a little adult on campus and, like, representing the university. It gave me, like, insane skill.
I think with that, it's, like, a good reminder to be challenged because it's, like... the first couple times or maybe the first 10 times you do it, you're nervous and, like, you're fumbling and you're messing up. And then I'm sure by the end of it, it's like fucking walk in the park. And I think it's, like, a good reminder that, like, you're not going to be good at everything you do, but, like, you have to challenge yourself and, like, try
100%.
something.
And it actually, like, that is what gave me the skill to do my TED Talk. Because when I did my TED Talk, I had to memorize a 20-minute talk. And, like, having done these lectures to, like, parents who are, like, literally deciding on the most important decision in their kid's life thus far.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like working at Subway. Like, you can't fuck that up. Like, you have to be a good representative.
Yeah.
But I say that, but I have to confess something. So here's me being like, you have to be a representative and be really good. There was one time. So I went out with my friends, got really fucked up, like really fucked up. We got a 6 a.m. train back from Bristol to Exeter. We had gone out on a night out in Bristol. Train back to Exeter. I had one of these presentations at 9. I had glitter all over my face. And I got home and I was like, well, I don't have time to sleep
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go straight there. I rock up in my uniform, in my glitter. And the first slide was like, student life at extra. And I was like, do I tell them that I'm like still fucked? That I just got on a train. Like, I mean, obviously I didn't, but I was just like,
here
university is really fun. There are many opportunities for socializing and meeting new people. But even just stuff like that, like finding your resilience of like working hard, but also playing hard. And yeah, like it was just amazing. And actually, this is probably like one of my most fun jobs ever. Like, wow, I can't believe I just like
I'm sure people became obsessed with you.
The parents loved me.
Yeah.
And I think I really persuaded them to put their kids at the uni.
Yeah.
Because they just met me and they were like, I want my kid to be like you.
I
was like, gay and insane? Sure.
I love gay and insane.
Yeah. Speaking of gay and insane.
Tell me.
I have a point here.
Okay.
Be single and sleep around. I think you should do that at uni. And this is what I learned, is that I had a girlfriend. It was my first girlfriend. Because it was my first girlfriend, I don't regret it. I'm glad I did it. Yeah. And then later on, swapped her for a guy. So also had a boyfriend at uni. Like, my whole uni life was with a fucking partner.
Yeah.
And whilst it was fun and I don't regret it, like, I do wish I had been a little slut. I was not a slut. Although, before the girlfriend, on my first week of uni, and he's definitely not listening to this, so I can say it. I slept with a guy. I think it was, my first week of uni, pretty early on. And we started having sex. And I was like, why am I doing this? I'm such a lesbian. Because like, right then, it was when I was like peak lesbianism. Like, I just was hungry for the gals. So I was having sex with this guy. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, and so I said to him, I was like, you know what? I have to go. I'm sorry. I can't do this. And I didn't tell him why. I was just like, this is not good. I'm going. And he looked so frazzled, so upset, as you would, like we're in the moment and I leave. And then turns out the next day, his friends were like, Yasmin, that was his virginity.
Oh.
And so
Wait, I'm kind of sad he didn't get like a full.
He did not get the full Yasmin experience.
But it was kind of a wasted V.
So
I went back to get
No,
it to
I
him?
didn't. But I had a conversation with him and I just said, if I had known it was your virginity, I would have been there sucking your cock for 4 hours. Because I am so, like, I want you to have a good experience. Like, you should have fucking told me.
Yeah.
So, all that to say, I did take a boy's virginity and it was shitty for him.
Yeah,
so I'm
that
sorry
sucks.
if you're watching this.
Yeah, I hope you got a good second virginity taking.
Yeah.
I like had so much fun in college. Like,
do you know what? I do wish we had gone to college together.
I know. It would have been so much fun. I think like I hopped on a lot of D's. But I would sometimes like have sex with someone and then like mid-sex be like, wait, I kind of don't want this. Like, it'd be like grossing me out.
Of course.
It would ick me out. And then they'd be like, wait, what? Like, are you okay? Because I think the guy's thinking like, oh God, like I don't want her to claim. And I just be like, no, like I'm just like grossed out. And they just be like, what? And I just like, ugh. So sometimes that would happen to me. And I'm sure that was awkward for them. I never felt awkward. I just kept it moving.
Yeah.
But like the one thing that I love is like I would like start seeing someone and get obsessed with them and then be with them for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then I would like go to the next one and then do like 3 weeks and then go to someone else for a weekend. Yeah. So I like always like kept it moving, but I was always very friendly with everyone after. So I feel like it was just so much fun. And then I'd like run into people from freshman year, my senior year, and they'd be like, oh my
Boulder
gosh.
sounds like a hoot.
It just was such like a good time. And I think even in my post-college life, I made a lot of mistakes in dating. But what I was texting my best friend about this today. We were like, there's a lot of peace in knowing that like we tried and did everything. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to be 45 and be like, fuck, like, I'm bored. I wish I had this. Like,
did everything.
I feel so at peace with everything, and it was so much fun, and the memories are so good.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say some of the things I did on her. It might be a bit too fucking insane. But it just reminds me.
I wish we could do one night and pretend like we're in college.
Let's do it.
Okay.
But like, but then I'll need like 3 business days off after that,
to
because that's the problem.
recover.
When you're 20, you can recover from shit. Like
Yeah.
now I can't. Now I do like a little mushroom chocolate, and I'm like, "Whew, that was wild, guys. That was wild." But yeah, there was a
By
time.
a little, you mean a whole bar?
No, just like a little chocolate, just like a square. Yeah, and I'm weak. There was, when I was like 20 or 19, I went to yeah, we were a little bit older. I think we were like 21 or 22. Me and my friends went on Sail Croatia, which is this trip in Croatia
Yeah.
where like there's a boat, and we were poor, so like we went on the cheapest boat. So because we were poor at 22, we went with the poor 18-year-olds, because
Yeah.
like we could only afford the poor boat. So there was one night with these 18-year-olds, bearing in mind we were 22, so we had already gone through college, and these 18-year-olds were like just starting.
Yeah.
There was one night where we played like Never Have I Ever. And
Great game.
and obviously like you're warming up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so boring, because people were like, never have I ever been to Japan, and I'm like, please. And so
Not to interject, when I play Never Have I Ever and people say shit like that, I'm like, just don't play then. Just be a listener maybe. Because like
Yeah.
you're contributing nothing
I
to
hate
the
this.
game.
I'm like, you better start off with like
No, I know.
the most insane shit you've
Yeah.
ever done. So I was like, let me spice things up. So I said, and we can bleep this out, I said like, never have I, and also I did drink. Like
Yeah.
I did do this. So I was like,
Yeah.
never have I ever had and these kids were like, these kids were like, get off the fucking boat. And
Yeah.
we're like, so it just shows how like college is like really formative.
Yeah. We can bleep this out too, but like I remember my freshman year of college, we also played that, and I went first because I thought everyone just shares, and I was like, never have I ever, and
That's
everyone
a
was
fun
like
one. Yeah.
literally floored, and one girl was like saying how she hadn't had raw fish, like
Yeah, I'm like,
nigiri.
honestly,
Yeah,
that
I'm like-
game, if people are like
The
saying,
nigiri is just like, come on.
like you have to
Yeah.
offer something. You can't
Yeah.
just, and you also just can't be an observer.
Yeah. Okay, question. What are your thoughts on playing Never Have I Ever with your partner? Like, say you're in a group of people and then you play and your partner's with you. Like, do you lie? So, like, say you say, like, never have I ever.
Been fisted, and then the partners, I haven't, by the way.
Yeah. The fisting. Did you see my little eyes
You're
open
like,
wide?
I've not. I promise. I've not.
I will never judge you, but the fisting, I just don't think fisting is right.
No,
like,
it sounds really
okay,
intense.
so one girl I met was like talking about kinks, and I met her at like an engagement party, and she had talked about fisting, and I was just like wanting to give her a safe space, but I'm like, how is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, my problem is that I'm an open book. Like, I'm not ashamed of anything I've done. I'm not
Yeah.
embarrassed. Like, I'm an open book, and that
Yeah.
is part of my problem. Is
Yeah.
that like I don't have the embarrassment of like saying anything I've ever done sexually or not
Yeah.
sexually. Like, I just don't care about sharing. You're the same. Like,
Yeah.
you'll share with anyone.
Yeah.
And I will share anything with anyone.
I am like that. I'll share
Like,
anything.
I'm
with
just not
everyone.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
My partner is very private. So I think that example of like, if we were playing it, first of all, can you imagine her playing Never Have I Ever? Like, she's way too mature. Like, she's way too wise. Like, she's just going to be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
But if she did, I just want to respect her. I don't give a shit. So, like, if she's not there, like, I will say anything
Yeah.
I've ever done. But I think, like, she would be way too embarrassed.
Because what I was telling my boyfriend when we talked about this, because in my head I was like, oh, I would 100% share in front of you. Like, I don't give a fuck. But then when we talked about it, I was like, if he didn't know that I had done something, like, I don't think it would be respectful to maybe say that I had.
Wait, so you're more talking
I don't know what I'm saying
Wait,
because
okay,
I
wait,
actually
wait.
think I said something he didn't know that I had done now.
Okay, so I'm not worried about like saying something I've done that she doesn't know, because it's like, this is the time for you to fucking learn.
Yeah.
But I meant more of like saying something that you guys had done together that he doesn't want to other
Tell
people to know.
people.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the fisting example. I think what I'm trying to figure out is like, would I feel like if I was with my partner playing Never Have I Ever
And
with
there's something
everyone,
you've done that he doesn't know. Is that the right moment to be
say
like,
finger
by the
down.
way, I got chlamydia
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
She hasn't, but just an example.
Yeah.
Well, when else are you going to learn about these things? Because
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
true.
it doesn't just come up in conversation with
I
your
knocked on
partner.
the wood about the chlamydia.
Well, can't say. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. I want anyone listening to let us know what they think.
I also think, sorry, this is going to stray wildly from the sex chat.
Yeah.
But like, when I think back to college specifically, not high school or middle school, like, I had the deepest chats I've ever had in my life with my friends, like at 4 a.m. after a night out. And it really is the environment for you to have those critical thinking chats, because at work when you're 30, you don't go up to like the water cooler and think like, so existential philosophy, like what are you, like, you just don't have those chats at work. And you know, you don't socialize with your friends in that way where you're drunk or you're smoking cigarettes or you're high to have those like really deep, meaningful chats. And it will forever stay with me, the conversations we've had and like the things we went through together in like our house shares and stuff. Like, it's just, I would do anything to get that time back and do it all over again.
I think it's like the joy sparks for me. Like, I lived in a house with 11 girls my junior and senior year, and there'd be like, you'd have like a wild night and then like all be up late, and then like the guy that like your friend had a crush on that she'd been talking about all night, like maybe text her, and then you're like screaming around the house and you're just like so excited. I feel like it's stuff like that I really miss.
That's why I don't understand when people are in such a hurry to like move out with their boy. Like, I see this is also another thing I think about Gen Z. Don't you think they're settling down so much younger? They're going back to like traditional roots.
Yeah. Things
are so cyclical where like they're settling down, getting engaged at like 21, 22, moving in with their partners, having a kid by 24. I'm like, don't you just want to drag what you're talking about out? Like, I want to drag that out.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's like the best. Like, something I have to say, like, through the chaos of like all of my friends when we were single and dating and going on dates and getting broken up with, breaking up with people, like, it was so fun to like do the kumbaya and like come together. Like, my best friend on Sundays, we would like debrief the weekend and get like the hangover food and like just literally crack up for hours. Or like one of us would be crying, one of us would be laughing. Like, it was just so much fun. And I feel like that's a part of like school that like you really never ever get back, because it's like we were saying when we were talking about friendship, like it's hard to even get your best friend on the couch to just like have a chat.
It's sad. It's sad. I want to finish off with something that relates to like school and not college, which is like, and as an ode to the teachers that asked this question, you have to really realize that when you're at school, middle school, high school, whatever, you are with those people more than you are with your parents. So the people that you surround yourself with are the people that are going to shape you, whether you like it or not. Yeah. And you're going to build formative, lifelong relationships. I mean, my best friends right now are still the girls I met at 10, 11 years old that I went to school with. Yeah. And so, you know, having surrounded myself with the right people was really, really transformational for me. And as an ode to the teachers that asked this question, like, I was so fucking lucky that I had really good role models and women that were teaching me and that put up with me and that made a safe space for me to talk to them about anything, and that I could go and tell them things that I wasn't even telling my mom. And I just felt so comfortable and loved and nourished and like just really well loved and looked after, and people that, like really believed in me. Like, and nowadays, these women, they still watch what I do 20 years later and they're still so supportive. Yeah. And it's so weird, like this week when I went back and had dinner with them, it's just like, wow, you've known me for so long.
And seen all like the seasons.
Yeah, and like nothing's changed though, you know?
That's
like
really
we're
cool.
Still all the same. And I hope I can know them for like the rest of my life. And I hope they can still, you know, be connected somehow. So yeah, whether you like it or not, like, you know, you do build lifelong connections during that time. So I was just lucky that I had the right ones.
Yeah. I don't keep in touch with any teachers I've had, but I have a lot of like maybe mentors. So it's kind of like the same thing.
I was a teacher's pet. I'm probably a unique case because I was a teacher's pet. And I think I was a teacher's pet because I didn't have siblings and I knew how to relate to adults very well.
Yeah.
And I was more interested in speaking to adults than people my age, because obviously now we're 30 and we're adults and it's like different. But as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, I had no interest in deep conversations with other 14-year-olds.
I always felt like that. It's so, I love that you said that, just because I think that's also why we get along so well, because I never wanted to be, like when I was in middle school and like even elementary, it was really hard for me to make friends because I was like, you guys are so juvenile and so
childish.
Boring. Yeah.
And actually, like, to your point about how similar we are, even now, there are things I say to my friends who are my age, and I think they are still a little bit like judgy or a little bit like righteous. And to you, I know I can say the most unhinged shit. Yeah. And you're like, I get it. Like, you're like, you're right.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just scared to tell my friends things because I just think they're quite righteous. And they're like, well, this is very black and white and there are no gray areas. And maybe they're righteous because they're defensive of me and they just want what's best for me. Whereas I think you can just wallow in it with me and be like,
well, I get it. Like, also, I think sometimes when you're talking to someone, giving them the black and white answer, though, is coming from a place of where you're at.
Yeah.
Not where they're at.
Yeah. Well, that's a deep point to finish with. If you want to hear more about our school and uni lives, let us know. But otherwise...
Also, you have your uniform still, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I have mine.
I've kept every fucking... I've got all of my school planners. So, like, every single grade, like our diaries and planners. Every good assignment I've made, every study book. I've kept all of that shit.
I kept, like, a few things, but mostly the schoolgirl skirts.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.